Hey guys, welcome back to Crack and Miniature Painting. Today we're going to take a little look at how to weather your vehicles for the tabletop using a pair of tweezers and a sponge. It's a really simple and effective way to get a weathering effect across your machines or metal areas or models quick and fast without going too technically difficult. So let's jump right into it and let's see how it's done.
Okay, let's get this thing looking a little bit more grubby. So started on the metal areas with a base coat of scale 75 dark metal, followed up with an aggressor shade wash. Now you could dry brush back over it with the metal colour again, but I actually liked it like this, so I just left it as it was. Now we're going to use our sponge very much like a dry brush, so dip it into the Emperor's Children there. You can take it straight out of the pot, I did, and then just wipe a good portion of it off, much like you would be doing with a dry brush. Then you're literally just going to stipple it onto the edges of the tank here. Now the same principles would apply if you were doing it on another model that you wanted to do weathering on. Just aim for the areas that you feel would have the most damage done to them. So here I just did, as I say, the edges of the tank. Now we're going to do exactly the same process, go over what we've just done, but with Skraag brown. Now I chose this because it's very orange. It's a very orangey based brown. So this is kind of going to represent the rusted areas around that paint chipping, and we're literally just doing exactly the same. And then same again, but with our black metal by scale 75. Now you could use any brown if you wanted, once you've kind of got your lighter tone of your colour on. So obviously if your tank's blue, for example, use a pale blue. Then come over, you can use the brown, whatever brown you want. Like I said, I just chose Skraag brown, and then you can use any metallic colour you want, or any metallic silver I should say. I really like the black metal by scale 75, their metallics seem to cover really well, so would highly recommend having any. And there we go, you can see all that paint chip in there, all the damage. Kind of just sprudged in with the brush, with the sponge even. Now we're going to come in with our Ryza rust. Now we're going to pop a blob of this on the palette and we're going to water it down so it's almost like a glaze consistency. Now when it goes onto the model it's very, very bright. So you'll see that in a minute. So that orange is incredibly heavy. Don't worry. While it's wet, if you don't like it, obviously just sponge it off with a clean brush. But it will dry less vibrant. It will become more matte and muted as it dries. So let me see that on the tread there. I've added a little bit too much in. Just use a wet brush to absorb it up and get rid of it. And you just want to hit everything that's kind of got rivets on it. Anywhere again that you would feel that has rust. We'll go right the way around the drill in a moment. But again, it goes on very bright, it looks very, very orange to begin with, but once it dries you'll see it does kind of dull itself down. Now you want this, like I said, almost as a glaze or wash consistency. So it's very thin. Now you can use this as a dry brush, a dry brush paint, and that's what the paint is intended for. When you open up the pot, it's very, very thick. So just scrape a bit out, pop it on the palette. Now again, as I said with the browns and the silvers, you can use an orange paint if you wish. I would probably say if you kind of went down the Skraag brown route and you weren't using Ryza rust, maybe mix a bit of Skraag brown with Fire Dragon Bright, and you probably get a very, very similar result. And it would certainly pass as rust. But I just like Ryza rust. I think Ryza rust is a really good colour. So just going right the way around that drill. I'm going to hit the other treads now. Rivets. Come down to the treads. All the gear mechanisms inside. And you know, some of this I was a little bit slap happy with the brush. I wasn't overly careful in certain areas, but it kind of adds to the weathered look. And again, if you don't like an area, you can just come back in with that wet brush, or a clean wet brush, and it just takes it away. So that's what you should be left with. You can see on that first set of treads there that it started to dry and it's not as bright as it was. Now, we're going to come in with the AK Interactive Streaking Grime. What we're going to do is we're going to hit some of these rivets and make it look like some dirt is kind of, and water damage is kind of dribbled out of the rivets. You know, you could say it's oil or something like that. Now again, put some of this on your palette, water it down, and you'll find what you want to do is you come in like I'm doing here with the rivets. Now just paint down and emulate the look of a liquid running out, so say oil running out from those rivets, the dirt and whatnot, and you just paint down and paint the streaks. Now you'll find the first pass, it's really hard to explain. The paint kind of blooms, and it will do its own thing with the first stroke of the colour. Once that dries and you start coming in, it's almost created its base work, or its kind of foundation for the paint to then go back on. So you'll find when you come back in with it and you start painting down again, it will create this streak effect. And again, as you kind of intensify the layers, so you kind of want to get it so it's more intense at the top around the rivet, and it starts to fade out as you kind of move your way down the drop. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing here. It's a fun paint to work with though. And again, if you don't have the Streak and Grime, I highly recommend getting it for stuff like this, but if not, you can use a brown. Just mix a brown with a bit of black just to get that dark brown look. And again, just thin it down. Getting in the way there. There we go. She's looking considerably more dirty than what she did a minute ago. A bit more grubby. And that's pretty much it, guys. Just do as many layers as you want on that. Get the desired look. If you do like these videos, please do hit the subscribe button. It really does help the channel. Leave a comment if you've got any questions about any of the techniques here, and I'll try and answer them as best I can. Or just comment saying, hey, we can have a conversation about minis and painting. That'd be great. And that does it. She's done. So yeah, as I say, guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and we will see you in the next one. Cheers!